What's up, everybody? This is Derek with Team Evolution, Rush of IKORR, coming to you today with a brand new deck profile from another Set 2 avatar, the yellow and green XMUCANE and Chaac. I think I am pronouncing that correctly. And I'm super excited to bring you this deck profile. This is a very unique deck profile. It's not like some of the other profiles I've been showing. Yeah, if you watched my my avatar ranking video, you saw that this avatar I had pretty low, mostly because I just wasn't sure what to do with it, and really how to place it. And at the same premise, it's been kind of one of my favorite avatars I've been looking at since Set 2's release. And I finally buckled down and started trying to work on a mill strategy, which is another thing I talked about with, or in that video. And you'll kind of see the combo. I'll show you the combo at the end. And the combo is crazy because on the combo, you can legitimately go through 40, 50. I did some test hands and I refreshed influence 6 times, and it just can happen that way, which is insane. So yeah, you can go through 40, 50, 60 influence in one turn when the combo hits, which is wild. So it's the main part of why I wanted to show you this. The strategy is kind of weird. It's definitely not something I'm not sure if I could deem like really super playable on a competitive scale. But I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna keep testing around with it because it's fun. I'm enjoying kind of playing this strategy. The whole goal is to kind of mill the opponent with some combo pieces, and yeah, it's a good time. Doesn't get much better than that in terms of just annoying the opponent. So yeah, real quick, again, I appreciate everybody for just again following my channel, supporting the team. Checking out the videos. I don't really get a lot of comments on the videos, people talking about stuff. Some I do, it just kind of depends. But I'm always open to people's opinions, and I just love hearing, if you watch these videos, what you think, just kind of, hearing that feedback. Yeah, we got some more videos coming too, a couple more deck profiles. I have a ranking video for cards from Set 2, kind of what we think are some of the best cards from Set 2 to keep your eyes out for. And yeah, just still trying to figure out some other content to do. I do want to get some more gameplay footage out too. We haven't done that in a while. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that. So we'll get there. But for now, we're gonna show you this really fun, really unique deck. And yeah, we'll just kind of get into it. So again, yellow green, we got that gorgeous alt art, one of my favorite artworks in the set. And what this avatar does is you pay 2, you sacrifice a champion, and the next champion that you summon this turn costs X less, where X is the cost of that champion. Which is, well, I didn't read that word for word, but it's basically what that ability does. And then the rush ability is for X, choose X allied players. Each of those players gain an exerted influence from their influence deck, which is basically the only kind of real form of ramp that we have in the deck, in the game, which is very nice. So in a 1v1, you get that off early enough. It's very good. In a 2v2 or 3v3, which we haven't really focused too much on, very strong, right? Getting able to just get that ramp in. So what can we do with this avatar? Well, there's a few cards in here that allow us to combo off very heavily, and we're trying to like mill our opponent. And in the process, up until we get to that point, we're trying to just control the game as much as we possibly can with a lot of stun. And yeah, that's just what we're doing. So starting off, I'll just kind of explain the way I built this. We have 2 Stargazer with Foresight. It's pretty standard, kind of a staple among yellow decks. Just, get that extra influence for the turn. Card's broken. Personally, I think it should be banned, but yeah, you're gonna play this in a yellow deck no matter what. So there's no really real explanation to that card. We have 2 Serapards. This is equipped with Siren's Voice, so this means that whenever an opposing champion strikes this champion, you stun that champion. Don't forget that when you strike a champion on your turn, that champion strikes back. They strike each other. So that means that when this strikes something, that champion still gets stunned, which is why we're playing this. It's a cheap, effective way to stun champions. 2 Scheming Viziers. So this is one of the main components to the deck, if not the main component of the deck. So we have this equipped with Canopic Jars, and that makes our target player scrap 2, which means to mill 2 cards essentially. And then its regular ability is look at the top card of target player's deck and send that card to the graveyard, well, you can send that card to the graveyard. So if we are targeting our opponent on both effects, we're effectively sending the top 3 cards of their deck to the grave, which is where we try and use and abuse this ability as much as we can throughout the game. 2 Funerary Priest. This deck It's weird. We do need draw power to just like draw into the stuff that we need. And this is one of the best early ways to do it, right? It's equipped with Mystic Ink, which I think is one of the best infusions for this champion because it makes it hard to remove with that 5 health. And just every time a champion dies, once per turn, you get to draw an additional card. So I think in this deck, it's fine. It's good because you need the draw power. 2 Master Brewers, equipped with Contemplate Impermanence. So this is just more stun that is annoying. Usually sticks around. So then on the next turn, you can use your Avatar ability, pop this. The next champion you play gains 2 less, but then you also get to draw a card off of the Contemplate Impermanence, which is why I have that there. Just kind of makes it a little bit useful. But with 2 pips, you can put whatever you want on this. I mean, there's a lot of infusions you can put on this to just make it a little bit more versatile. But with sacrificing our own champions, I kind of felt like that was a decent one to put the Contemplate Impermanence on. And then we have 2 Sirens, one of my favorite cards from set 2. This champion is a 3/1/5. Opposing champions must attack a champion named Siren if able, and then whenever an opposing champion strikes this champion, you stun it. Okay. Again, if it attacks on your turn, you're still going to stun the champion. But for the most part, you're just kind of using this as a little bit of a wall. And yeah, it's just an annoying card. I was going to put the Curse of the Izanagi on this and make it cost 1 less. But that way it's a 2/1/5, which is very good in its own merit. But I opted to go with these instead. One of them being the Tresses of Nephthys. Add another card, or sorry, on death, add another card from your graveyard to your hand. So very good. And then this one has Rubber Ball, which is just when this champion strikes a champion and survives, you draw a card. So that's why I did not stick the cost reduction on this one, even though you could, to make it cost 2, which is great. The idea of just being able to draw a card or 2 off this being on the field if your opponent doesn't have direct removal was pretty good. So that's where I went with this one. But you could, again, make it cost cheaper. The 1 pips are just sometimes really weird because you're kind of limited, but there's still enough where you can kind of do what you want. I mean, you could even stick Hermes Lyre on there, Headdress if you want. No, you can't do Headdress because that nullifies the ability, but you could stick a few other things on there, but I thought Rubber Ball was fine. Medjay, another one of my favorite cards from set 2. I think it's one of the best cards out there. On summon, you stun champion and remove 2 IKORR from it. I have Shroud of Yomi on 1, which you pay 2 to get it back from the grave. I think that's one of the best infusions in set 2 in the game, period. So putting it on a champion that you can just infinitely technically kind of stun things and bring it back from the grave and play it, I think is very good. And then this one I have Scroll of Curses, which is an ultra rare infusion from set 1. Stun target champion, and then until the end of the next turn, that champion loses all abilities and cannot be retreated. This is obviously a very powerful infusion. If you don't have it, it's okay. Like I said, I build these decks pretty competitive, so if you don't have a Scroll of Curses, there's so many other things you can stick on this. I mean, it's a 3 pip, so just like Swift Messenger, you can do a lot with this card. It's endless what you can do with this card. So get creative, and if you don't have Scroll of Curses, just find some other good infusions or one that you like, and stick it on Medjay, because Medjay is good either way. But Scroll of Curses, just in this particular case, it makes me stun 2 champions basically instead of just 1. So a 3-drop for 2 stuns is pretty good, which is why I have it on the Medjay. But Shroud of Yomi on one of them for sure is, I think, really good. 2 Camusos. This is a fun card. So I kept looking at this card over and over and over, and I was really trying to kind of figure out, where can I find some utility for this? It's a 3/2/3 that raids for 2. Doesn't really matter with how we use it, but on summon you may retreat target ally champion. And then we have your Roaring Aegis on there to make your avatar ability cost 0 for the turn. So what we are using this for is pretty simple. We're just using this to bounce back stuff like this, right? Or maybe we want to bounce back, we play Swift Messenger, I haven't got to it yet, but maybe we want to bounce that back, right? So we play this, bounce it back, use our avatar ability for 0, blow this up. Now our next our next champion that we play costs 3 less, so maybe we just play this again, mill another 3 cards. We're just using it as a combo piece to kind of bounce things back and forth, which can actually be really good and pretty frustrating when your opponent can't really do anything about it. Another cool thing about this card, by the way, and this matters for the combo, this can target itself. Now in a normal instance, that does not matter. But when we go off on our combo, once I show you the card for that, you can do some pretty fun things with this card. So I really like this card. It's really fun to use. 2 Swift Messengers, pretty standard staple amongst most decks. Draws you 2 cards, can potentially kill something the same turn. I have Shroud of Yomi on one of them because in this deck, again, draw power is key, and you can kind of abuse this with that Shroud of Yomi. So, that's what I'm doing. But again, you can do whatever you want with this card, whatever you want. It's got 3 pips, so it's endless what you can do. A lot of good infusions you can play on these. This one I have Kusanagi. This is one of the staple ones that I kind of roll with on this card. Makes it to where you get basically an additional draw and you get to stun something. So the stun's important, which is why we play it on this with Swift. So I think Kusanagi in this deck for sure is important. 2 Devoted Militia. Another card that I've wanted to be good, but just haven't really found a deck for it. So I'm testing it in this one. It seems okay. It basically has a Jade and Funerary Mask attached to it in a way. So I have Curse of the Kami on it, which makes it cost 3. So it's a 3/4/3 that's rage for 2. Stuns itself when you play it, but who cares? You don't need that effect. You don't need it to do anything. But on death, if it's your turn, choose another champ or choose one. Add another champion from your graveyard to your hand, or an allied champion gets +1 attack and +1 rage at the end of the turn. We usually don't care about that second effect, but we play this for 3. Use our Avatar ability to blow it up if we need to, or Grim Calabash, which we'll get to that in a second. And yeah, go fetch a champion out of your graveyard while also you know, not restoring the influence, but you know, getting that extra influence to play with. So if you blow it up with the Avatar ability, you know, whatever you pull out of the grave, you get to play it for 4 less. So you kind of it's basically just a way to recycle this stuff, which is what we're doing, right? Mostly this, like I said, we're trying to just reuse it as much as we can. Or if you want to pull Siren out of the grave or Swift Messenger out of the grave, doesn't really matter. Whatever you need. And then we have 1 Swift Cavalry. Okay, so listen to me on this one. This is totally just personal preference on me playing this because I have the card. Jade Funerary Mask is another ultra rare infusion from set 1. And if it's your turn, return target champion with a lesser influence cost from your graveyard to your hand, right? So I stuck it on this because it has Swift. Because if I want it to die on my turn, I play this, I can potentially kill something and then get something back in the process. Or I could blow it up with my Avatar ability or Grim Calabash, get a card from my graveyard, and then, you know, use the extra influence. Not necessary, right? I do not have to play this. Neither do you. This can be so many other cards. I didn't really show it, but off to the side, I do have a neutral card with Poseidon's Trident that destroys a location with influence cost 3 or less. If you're playing against location decks, or tournaments happen in the future, I think everybody needs to be running location removal. I'm sorry to say that, but Pyramids, Shabulbas, Delphis, there's just too many broken locations that you need to play location removal. So I don't have this in the deck, but like as an asterisk, if you don't have something like this to play and you just need another card to play, like you can do something like this. But again, I play it just because once it dies, I get something back. So it's more recycle and reuse utility. And if you have it, you know, find something to stick it on. That is all for the infusion-based champs. Very utility-based stuff, right? We're not like playing cards to give us extra IKORR and do all this fancy stuff. We're just, kind of just reusing and recycling as many cards from not as many cards, but cards from the graveyard, mostly trying to abuse the Vizier. Non-infusion-based champions, the Fabled. Pythia. Okay, so I've said this before over and over. Pythia is, in my opinion, the best card from set 2. It's a meta warping card. It just does so much on its own. Reducing spell costs, gaining IKORR, milling cards. It's very powerful. 7 health for no reason. But we only use it in this deck for the simple fact that we can use our Avatar ability turn 1. So what I mean by that is if it's the first turn of the game, you play this, Foresight, look at the top card, gain your extra influence, play this, mill the top card you just looked at with this, you gain your IKORR, which means that you can use your rush ability on the first turn of the game. Broken, right? That means that at the start of your second turn, you're at 3, not 2. And if you're going first, that's massive because as you can tell, there's a lot of really good 3-drops in the deck. So it can kind of just get you ahead, very ahead, which is nice. That's kind of what you need. And we're trying to get to 10 to pull off our crazy combo that I'll show you. So the faster we can get to 10 by using our rush ability, the better. So being able to do that on the first turn of the game, fantastic. And then Anubis and Chaac, absolutely busted card. This is where the entire combo comes out of, and we'll get to that in a second. Anubis is just another good mill card. I know it mills us too, but it's still good because it also voids the graveyard. Any graveyard-based deck, this is the killer for that. So if you are playing yellow and you anticipate any graveyard-based deck, especially with Sha being really good in blue decks now, if you know what I'm talking about, go check out my my deck profile on eShell, and I explain that a little bit more. Snake, I mean anything graveyard related, this card just destroys. So play it if you're playing yellow. But for in this case, we're playing middle, and it just happens to be better because we can void the opponent's graveyard. And that's it for the champions. There's, again, other stuff you could play, Amit and different things like that, but I didn't play Toads. I didn't need to play any of that stuff. I just kind of kept it really straightforward with what my goal of the deck is. Locations, we have a copy of Delphi. Not so much for Pythia. It's not really there for Pythia. It's mostly just to help us dig for our spells every single turn, as many times as we can use it to just dig 4 deep and get to the cards we need to get to. That's all we're using it for. Calabash, this is the main location of the deck. So this is a 4-cost location. Action, sacrifice a champion, refresh X, where X is the sacrifice champion's influence cost. Broken location, at least with the way we're using it. It's broken. It's not broken in every deck, but we'll show you the combo with this because it's an important piece. And then 1 Chichen Itza. I still kept Chichen Itza just because like you do get to points where you can recycle like a lot of important pieces and stuff, especially in the late game. So this card I think is still very valuable in a situation like this. So kind of weird thing, right? This is an important card of the deck. You like need to have this to do your combo, but I'm not playing any location search cards, which the only ones I have access to is Yamabushi, which is the neutral card, but I don't want to do that. This deck stalls good enough up until turn 10 that most of the time we can get to this, but for a consistency point, it is possible that, playing 2 of these matters. I don't know what you would take out. Or what you would do, maybe just not play this or just don't play Delphi, I don't know. But I think 1's fine. Probably could play 2 or just play 2 Yamabushis if you want to just, get to the location that you want. But either way, Calabash is important. In fact, we're gonna put this and this off to the side for combo sake. And spells, we play 1 Descent to Yomi. We need Chaac in the grave. It's that simple. You don't want to draw this card, so it is a brick in this deck. So I only play 1 because you don't really need to play 2 either, but we do want to get Chaac in the graveyard as soon as possible. So having this is just kind of a way to help. You do also have the Swift Messenger and the Medjay that have Shrouded Yomi. So if you have to throw one of those in the graveyard, then that's fine too. 2 Oracular Visions. I hate this card in this deck, actually. It doesn't feel very good. We can kind of use it with Pythia and just kind of help dig for stuff, but it's not that good. But we have to play it. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, it's one of those cards where it helps you dig for a piece that you need, and so you kind of just have to play it. Incense Ritual, busted card. You pretty much want to play this in all yellow decks. Recycles cards from the grave, makes them cost 1 less. Very good with Pythia. Of course, we're playing this card. And then we're playing the 6 Reverse Spells for infinite reusability on Chaac and some of the other cards. So we want to just utilize these. Vision Serpent being a huge part of the combo, so we'll move that aside. And then the very last card of the deck, which is actually where the idea for the deck even came from, is Amaterasu's Dawn. So this card says, choose an allied player until the end of this turn. The summon abilities of champions that player controls trigger twice. So when I saw this, I was like, damn, that's a pretty good ability. How do we abuse that, right? And this is where I think I've kind of found a way to do that. So here's the setup. That's the deck. Couple things before I go right into this, the actual combo. The Great End, I don't have a copy of Great End in the deck, but I will be putting one in there. I didn't put one in there before the profile, but Great End is the 9-drop spell that's a 1-sided board wipe. This is a deck that's going to stall well enough up to the point where having a board wipe is really important because, as you can tell, we have a lot of stun. We do not have a lot of board wipe or just board removal in general. So you get to a point where you can play the Great End is fantastic, but with like Burn Incense Ritual and what's it called? Chichen Itza. I don't know where the heck it is. If you recycle Chichen Itza, so basically if you play Burn Incense Ritual and you pull Great End out of the graveyard when you have 10 influence, then you get to play the Great End for 8. And if you have Chichen Itza, you can keep recycling this over and over and draw into it to keep replaying the Great End over and over and over. So if the game goes late enough, you can kind of recycle that like infinitely to just always have a board wipe. So I think a copy of Great End is necessary just because you have access to it. And this deck is kind of slow enough to where having that board wipe is really good. So, okay, so let's just kind of get into this really quick and just kind of let me explain, where I'm at on everything. These are my influences, and yeah, I gotta love all the foils. Love them. So here's what you do. You're at 10 influence, right? Chaac is in the grave. I'll put the grave over here. Calabash is on the board, and the Vizier in your hand. All right, so we're at 10 influence. We pay 6 for this. Now all of our summons are doubled for the turn. And then we play Vision Serpent to pull out the Chaac, right? Now, I will say, it is important if you have stuff like this guy, this, and this, if you can find a way to abuse those. But also, if you draw into any more of your rebirth spells, right? So if you get any more of your rebirth spells, or Vizier, or Camuso, or Swift Messenger, this is where it just gets kind of fun and kind of crazy. So we play this, and we're back at 10, right? We refresh our 10. All right, well now, we can just do stuff, right? So we could, like if this is in the grave, you could pay 2 and play it. So yeah, even though that cost us 5, we could draw 4 cards because the summons are doubled, right? And then, like, let's say we have these in our hand. We can go play this, and you're gonna mill 6 cards because it's doubling the summon abilities. And then you play this, and guess what? Remember how I said this can target itself? Well, since you get the summon ability twice, you can bounce this back, and then you can bounce itself back. Or you could bounce back the Swift Messenger, it doesn't really matter. But then Grim Calabash, well, you can trigger that, pop the Chaac, and guess what? All this just got refreshed again. So now we're on the 3rd batch of 10, which makes for 30, right? So then guess what? We can go, okay, well, let's play Vizier again. And then let's play this again. And mill another 6 and bounce these back again. And do it again and do it again. Bounce them back again. Or bounce this back and draw 4 more cards. Or, obviously, if you draw into more of these, right? You could also, like, okay, well, let's go, you know, crash this, pay 2, play it, draw 4 more cards, which means you're probably drawing into more of these anyways. And then we'll use the last 5 to play Curse of the Defiler, and guess what? We're bringing that back. So now this resets a 4th time. Now we're at 40 influence for the turn. And then maybe we play our Avatar ability. Oh, actually, the other summon ability is that our Avatar ability costs 0. So through the course of playing that, you can play this for 0. So now you can pop the Chaac to get it back in the grave. And the next champion that you play now costs 0. So out of the, 4 to 8 cards that you drew off the Messenger, if you played that twice in the turn, maybe you drew into Anubis, or maybe you drew into another Scheming Vizier, whatever, right? Maybe you drew into the other Camuso, right? It doesn't really matter. You just abuse it over and over and over. I like the abuse of this and just bouncing things back over itself in the Vizier over and over. Imagine you draw into the other Vizier. You play that not Vizier, the other Camuso, and then you bounce these back and you do it again and again. And then maybe you get low and you decide to play Osiris Reborn. You bring this back, you reset it again, and you just do it over and over. So if the cards kind of fall right, you can have this burst turn where you're basically going through 40, 50, maybe even 60 influence in an entire turn. And then you get these off, 3-4 times on top of maybe even Anubis. And then, that's, 6, 12, 18, 24, maybe even 30 cards that you're milling in just one turn because of the double summon abilities. So it's gimmicky. It's gimmicky. I know that. But if you can stun long enough to get to that point, still have access to the great end to board wipe your opponent. Plus, if you do happen to play Anubis in the mix of all that, while it does mill you as well, you get to void their disc or their graveyard, which is even better, right? So they don't have access to any of their graveyard stuff. Obviously, again, great end. If you can find a way to manipulate that, like you basically just have this massive turn where you go through all this influence and can just, I wouldn't say end the game, but you can kind of just get to that point. So it's gimmicky. It's a late game thing. You can just stun and do whatever you want up until that point, but that's basically the combo. I thought it was pretty neat. Takes a lot to kind of pull off, but it's fun, and that's all that matters. So that's it. That's the deck. That's the combo. Definitely some other stuff you could play in here, maybe help with consistency or whatever. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do I think this is something that takes this avatar out of the C tier and moves it up a little bit? I don't really think so. I think it's still kind of a little too slow in a real competitive sense. But at the same time, with enough stun, you know, maybe you can prevent the opponent from winning the game up until a certain point, until you just kind of do something like this. And maybe there's other summon abilities that you could find. I mean, I've gone through the card pool pretty extensively, and I've really only kind of come up to what I thought were the best cards. But there are still some things that you could maybe look at playing, maybe some other infusions or something. But yeah, that's it. That's the deck. So let me know what you think. And you know, as always, appreciate all the views, and keep watching for more videos. Team Evolution out.